What if I told you the breakfast you've been eating for years, yes, the one you believe is safe, normal, even healthy, is slowly killing your erections? It's a hard truth, but one that far too many men over 60 are waking up to too late. I'm Dr. Mohit Kara, a men's health specialist with over 30 years of clinical experience. I've helped thousands of older men reclaim their confidence, performance, and intimacy, naturally. And one of the first places I always look, their breakfast plate. See, most men don't realize that what you eat first thing in the morning sets the stage for your entire hormonal day. Yet we've been misled. We've been sold cereals loaded with sugar, processed meats filled with chemicals, and so-called healthy options that are silently draining your testosterone, inflaming your arteries, and choking off the blood flow your erections depend on. And here's the twist. It's not just about sex. These breakfast foods are robbing you of vitality, energy, and the ability to feel like a man. But there's good news. In the next few minutes, I'll walk you through the 7 worst breakfast foods for your erections, and more importantly, what to eat instead to restore circulation, revive testosterone, and help you feel alive again. And stay with me, because at the end, I'll share a simple morning drink I give my patients that works like natural rocket fuel for your manhood. Before we dive into these breakfast dangers, make sure you hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell, so you never miss another life-changing health tip made specifically for men over 60. And if this video speaks to you, drop a 1 in the comments. If it doesn't, type 0 and tell me how I can serve you better. Alright, let's get into it. Starting with the very first and most dangerous breakfast food that's silently wrecking your erections. It's something millions of men eat every morning without a second thought: processed meats like bacon and sausage. Let me explain why these seemingly harmless favorites could be the hidden reason your performance isn't what it used to be. 1. Processed meats: bacon, sausage, ham. For decades, bacon and sausage have been breakfast staples in millions of American homes. They're warm, savory, comforting, and for many men, they represent a morning ritual that feels almost sacred. But if you're over 60, what you may not realize is this: those very foods could be silently destroying your ability to get and stay hard. Processed meats like bacon, sausage, and ham are loaded with saturated fats, sodium, and nitrates, chemical preservatives used to enhance flavor and shelf life. While they may taste delicious, these compounds wreak havoc on your blood vessels, inflaming the delicate endothelial lining and drastically reducing nitric oxide, the very molecule your body uses to create and maintain an erection. And the older you get, the more sensitive your blood vessels become to this kind of damage. I've seen it again and again. A man comes into my clinic, frustrated and embarrassed, wondering why his morning erections have faded, why intimacy feels harder, why even his confidence seems to be slipping. And often, one of the first questions I ask is simple: what are you eating for breakfast? When processed meats are part of the answer, I already know what direction we're headed in. These meats don't just harm your heart, they choke off the very blood flow that gives you your sense of manhood. They contribute to plaque buildup, restrict circulation, and suppress testosterone, creating the perfect storm for erectile dysfunction to take hold quietly over time until one day you realize it's not coming back. But you're not helpless. Making small changes, like replacing processed meats with healthy proteins such as eggs, wild-caught salmon, or even a handful of nuts, can spark noticeable improvements in blood flow and hormone levels. It doesn't take long for the body to respond when you feed it what it truly needs. And if you think that's surprising, wait until you hear what your healthy breakfast cereal might really be doing to your testosterone. That's coming up next. 2. Sugary breakfast cereals, even healthy ones. They sit on the shelves in bright, colorful boxes with promises like heart healthy, whole grain, and low fat. You might even reach for them thinking you're making a smart choice. But sugary breakfast cereals, even the ones that claim to be healthy, are one of the most deceptive and dangerous foods a man over 60 can eat in the morning. And they're silently wrecking your ability to perform in the bedroom. The danger isn't always obvious. because the sugar is often hidden. A bowl of granola, raisin bran, or even some so-called fiber cereals can pack more sugar than a candy bar. And when that sugar hits your bloodstream first thing in the morning, it spikes your insulin levels, disrupts your hormones, and ignites inflammation throughout your body. The result? A steep drop in testosterone and a steady decline in the blood flow you need to achieve a strong, lasting erection. I once had a patient in his late 60s who ate a healthy cereal every day with skim milk. He was tired, irritable, and hadn't had a solid erection in months. When we tested his testosterone, it was in the basement. We removed the cereal, added protein and healthy fats to his morning routine, and within 4 weeks, his energy improved, and so did his bedroom confidence. These cereals are designed to be convenient, but what they're really doing is draining your vitality. The sugar rush may last 30 minutes, but the hormonal crash can affect your entire day, especially your sexual health. And over time, it chips away at your manhood. If you truly want to turn things around, replace those sugary bowls with real fuel, protein, fiber, and healthy fats that stabilize your hormones and support blood flow. Your body and your partner will notice the difference. And speaking of blood flow, there's one breakfast item almost everyone thinks is healthy, but it might be clogging your arteries with every single sip. You've probably had it this morning. Let's talk about it next. 3. White bread and bagels. For many men, a couple slices of toast or a toasted bagel with cream cheese seems like a harmless, even comforting way to start the day. It's quick, familiar, and fills you up. But if you're over 60 and wondering why your erections aren't what they used to be, it's time to take a serious look at what those white breads and bagels are actually doing inside your body. White bread and standard bagels are made from highly refined flour, stripped of virtually all fiber and nutrients. When you eat them, they break down rapidly into sugar in your bloodstream, causing a sharp spike in insulin. That insulin spike triggers inflammation and leads to what I call hormonal fallout, a drop in testosterone and a reduction in nitric oxide production, both of which are essential for strong erections. I've worked with men who had no idea their simple morning bagel was sabotaging their sexual health. One gentleman in his early 70s told me he felt flat all day and had lost his desire for intimacy. When we removed white carbs from his breakfast and added in nutrient-dense options, not only did his energy return, but so did his morning erections. These breads are more than just empty calories. Over time, they contribute to insulin resistance, hardening of the arteries, and weight gain around the midsection, all of which directly interfere with blood flow to the penis. And unlike a muscle strain or injury, this kind of internal damage builds slowly and quietly, making it even more dangerous. If you're still eating white toast or bagels every morning, it's not too late to make a change. Choose sprouted grains, whole rye, or even oats, foods that fuel you instead of draining you. The right carbs can actually support healthy testosterone and keep your arteries open. But there's one more breakfast item that often sneaks under the radar. It seems innocent, even refreshing, but the truth is, it's nothing more than a glass full of hidden sugar that could be stripping away your manhood with every sip. Let's uncover it next. 4. Store-bought orange juice. It's marketed as the perfect start to your day, bright, refreshing, packed with vitamin C. For decades, store-bought orange juice has been promoted as a healthy breakfast choice. But for men over 60, that morning glass of juice may be doing far more harm than good. In fact, it could be silently contributing to the weakening of your erections. Here's the truth most people don't know. Commercial orange juice is not the same as eating an orange. When juice is processed, it's stripped of nearly all the fiber that slows sugar absorption. What's left is essentially liquid sugar, loaded with fructose that floods your bloodstream, spikes your insulin levels, and sets off a cascade of hormonal problems. And when your insulin rises repeatedly over time, your testosterone falls. I've had patients come into my office with sluggish energy, extra belly fat, and fading erections, and they're stunned when I tell them their orange juice habit is part of the problem. The sugar spike not only lowers testosterone, but it also damages the lining of your blood vessels, reducing nitric oxide production and blood flow, both of which are critical for achieving and maintaining an erection. Even juices labeled no added sugar or 100% pure are still concentrated sources of natural sugar, and drinking them on an empty stomach in the morning, that's like dumping fuel on the fire. The crash that follows can leave you tired, mentally foggy, and sexually flat for the rest of the day. The good news is that replacing juice with something more supportive can yield powerful results. Try starting your day with lemon water, green tea, or a small glass of diluted pomegranate juice, all of which hydrate you and support healthy blood flow and hormone levels. But while juice is a liquid sugar bomb, there's another breakfast item that combines sugar with processed fat, and it's even worse. It looks harmless, maybe even fun, but it could be one of the most erection-destroying foods a man can eat. You've probably had it with your coffee. Let's expose it next. 5. Donuts, muffins, and breakfast pastries. They're sweet, convenient, and for many men, a nostalgic comfort, especially with a hot cup of coffee. Whether it's a donut from the bakery, a store-bought muffin, or a toaster pastry, these foods have become a morning go-to for millions. But if you're a man over 60 and you're still starting your day with these sugary treats, you need to know the truth. These pastries may be one of the most dangerous breakfast choices you can make for your erections, and you probably don't even realize it. The problem isn't just the sugar, it's the combination of refined flour, processed oils, and artificial additives, all of which work together to create a hormonal disaster. These pastries cause rapid blood sugar spikes, followed by crashes that sap your energy and throw your hormones completely off balance. But even worse, they contain trans fats and inflammatory oils that damage your arteries, reduce blood flow, and disrupt nitric oxide production, cutting off the supply line to your most important organ. One man in his early 70s told me he treated himself to a muffin every morning, thinking it was harmless. He hadn't had a full erection in over a year. When we looked at his diet and removed the daily pastry, replacing it with whole foods, his blood pressure dropped, his testosterone improved, and slowly but surely, his performance began returning. You see, these breakfast desserts don't just feed your sweet tooth. They feed inflammation, accelerate weight gain around the waist, and cause insulin resistance, all of which are directly linked to erectile dysfunction. And because the damage builds over time, many men don't connect the dots until it's too late. If you want to regain control, trade the sugar and flour for foods that stabilize your hormones, like eggs, berries, or a protein-rich smoothie. Your future self will thank you. But while these sweet treats are harmful, the next food on the list is even more deceptive. It's something many men switch to thinking it was the healthy choice, but in reality, it may be one of the worst things you can spread on your toast. Let's talk about it next. 6. Margarine and hydrogenated oils. Decades ago, margarine was marketed as the healthy alternative to butter, cholesterol-free, heart-friendly, and modern. But for men over 60, this so-called health food may be doing silent damage where it matters most. If you're still spreading margarine on your toast or using hydrogenated oils in your cooking, you need to hear this. These artificial fats could be quietly killing your ability to have firm, reliable erections. Unlike natural fats that nourish the body, margarine is filled with trans fats and hydrogenated oils, man-made ingredients designed to extend shelf life, not extend your health. These fats are notorious for damaging the lining of your blood vessels, increasing bad cholesterol, LDL, and lowering the good kind, HDL. And when your arteries begin to stiffen and narrow, blood flow to the penis becomes restricted. Erections become weaker, less frequent, and in many cases, stop altogether. One of my patients, a 68-year-old retired teacher, told me he used margarine daily, believing it was better for his heart. But after years of use, he was dealing with fatigue, low libido, and poor circulation. When we replaced the artificial fats in his diet with real, nourishing sources, like olive oil, avocado, and grass-fed butter, his energy returned, and he began noticing stronger erections within weeks. It's important to understand that erectile function is one of the first areas affected when circulation breaks down. Your penis has some of the smallest blood vessels in your body, If margarine is quietly damaging your arteries, your erections are going to pay the price long before your heart shows symptoms. And just because margarine looks harmless doesn't mean it is. These invisible ingredients work in the background, slowly eroding your performance, confidence, and quality of life. Now, while margarine damages blood vessels, there's another food often found in light breakfast options that does something even more sinister. It may actually raise estrogen levels in men and block testosterone altogether. And many guys eat it every single morning without question. Let's take a closer look. 7. Flavored yogurt, even low-fat ones. At first glance, flavored yogurt seems like a smart breakfast option. Low in fat, convenient, and often advertised as gut-friendly. But for men over 60, this seemingly innocent choice may be doing more harm than good, especially when it comes to your ability to maintain strong, healthy erections. In fact, flavored yogurt may be one of the most overlooked foods that's slowly stealing your manhood. Most flavored yogurts are loaded with added sugars, artificial sweeteners, preservatives, and even thickening agents that your body was never meant to process. That sweet vanilla or fruit flavor you enjoy, it often comes at the cost of 15 to 25 grams of sugar in a single small container, spiking your insulin, increasing belly fat, and reducing testosterone production. And when your testosterone drops, your desire, stamina, and ability to perform all begin to fade. To make matters worse, many low-fat or non-fat yogurts remove the very fats that help your body absorb key vitamins, regulate hormones, and produce testosterone. I've had older male patients who were faithfully eating low-fat yogurt every morning, thinking they were doing the right thing, but their energy was low, their libido had disappeared, and their erections were inconsistent at best. Once we swapped the flavored yogurt for full-fat, plain Greek yogurt with some berries and seeds, their testosterone levels improved, and so did their confidence. And there's another hidden danger. Some flavored yogurts contain soy additives or milk from hormone-treated cows, both of which can subtly raise estrogen levels in men. Over time, that hormonal imbalance can make it even harder to maintain erections and feel like yourself again. Don't let marketing fool you. Just because something is labeled light or healthy doesn't mean it supports your manhood. Choosing real, nutrient-dense foods can change everything. Now that you know the 7 most dangerous breakfast foods silently damaging your erections after 60, the big question is, what should you do instead? In the final section, I'll give you a simple, doctor-recommended morning routine that supports blood flow, restores testosterone, and jumpstarts your performance naturally. Stay with me. Conclusion. By now, you've seen the truth. 7 common breakfast foods that may seem harmless on the surface but are quietly draining your testosterone, damaging your blood flow, and slowly robbing you of the strength, confidence, and intimacy you deserve after 60. I've seen this story play out in thousands of men. They weren't broken, they weren't too old, they were simply misled about what healthy really means. You don't need a miracle pill to feel like yourself again. You need better fuel. Real food. Foods that work with your body, not against it. As a doctor who has spent over 3 decades helping men restore their vitality, I can tell you, change is possible at any age. When you start your day with the right choices, you create a foundation for energy, connection, and performance that lasts all day long. You deserve to feel alive. You deserve to feel like a man again. And it all starts with what's on your plate tomorrow morning. Now go make that change. Your best years aren't behind you. They're still ahead. If this video helped you, please give it a like, share it with a friend who needs to hear this, and don't forget to leave a comment below. I read everyone. If you'd like to support more content like this for men over 60, consider making a small donation using the link in the description. Every bit helps, and I'm truly grateful for your support.